Or should I give this to you?
Oh, true. Yeah, we have this technology.
You can move that stuff if you want. It's not, you know.
Do we have one of those? We probably have. Oh, this one's got that. All right, now 1 second. In the meantime, yeah, I think they already said what to do.
I don't know.
Go and get Node. And if you're finished with that, go to the next step, which is to like set up your Twitter account, that stuff. That's the very dull stuff that we'll have to do to get started, but helps.
When you start with skateboarding?
What?
When you start skateboarding? Wait, we also have 2 marks.
Two
2 marks.
marks.
Mark and Mark.
Mark. Awesome.
He's a time traveler and came back.
Well, he's not a time traveler. He's more like he's fourth dimensional. He sees all of our timelines at once and can just appear twice.
I believe it.
Yeah.
That one.
There you go. You need to connect to your internet?
Yes.
Alright.
All right. Getting there.
You do pause here if you want. Oh, I put it.
You
You put this whole thing.
Oh.
Twitter.
Yeah, 10 seconds. Slightly.
40404.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You can take it off.
Okay, so I guess I'll chat while that's loading. So my name is Tyler, for those of you that don't know. I go to UCF. I was one of the organizers, along with Isabella, who kindly drove me here today. So if it wasn't for Isabella, I would not be here. So we are organizers from. Really? Did you start this?
Yeah, I was playing.
Okay.
I was waiting for it to,
We were a couple of the organizers for Night Hacks. Did any of you guys go? You guys went. Cool. I brought the stickers. They're in my backpack.
fantastic.
Stickers. Have at. Catch. Cool.
Whoa. Why didn't you guys hand these out?
We forgot.
Okay.
Forgot to hand them out. I also, UCF also has a club called Tech Nights that does exactly this. We give workshops every week, and if you happen to be in the UCF area tomorrow, they're doing a hardware workshop, but if you dabbled in hardware at all, it's probably pretty basic stuff, but if you happen to be there, that's what's going on. Yeah, every week there's a new workshop, and so this is one of the workshops I did a while back, called Creating a Basic Twitter Bot in Node. So, my first question is, does everyone have Node right now? Yes? Yes? Does anybody not have it and needs help? Because that's fine too. Cool. Just curious, how many people are on, well, I can kind of see it. Anyone on a Mac? Yeah, Windows. All right, everyone, right? And Linux, anyone?
I can deal with
No, I don't want you to. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. So, also a little bit more about me. I really like web development. I do primarily like backend stuff. I can try to make something look good for front end, but I'm not very good at it. I tend to go to Isabella, and she makes everything look pretty. Let's see. I worked at Apple this past summer. That was really cool. And then in May, when I graduate, Isabella and I will both be going up to Seattle to go work at Microsoft full time. So that's gonna be fun. So, did everyone get to this step where you're like making a Twitter thing? Should I like run through that? Did everyone do that?
I got there.
You got there?
Yeah, we're raising hands.
Okay. Who got? Do you guys have your access tokens and all that fun stuff?
I haven't done past the create app.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and do that. So the way I like to do workshops is I wrote up this markdown for everyone to go to, and the website was up there. We're all gonna follow along with this, and I'll just kind of talk over it. Hopefully not stumble through it, but yeah, so we'll do that. And then this particular workshop, what I like to do is once we're done going through all this basic stuff, I'm gonna have you guys kind of take what you've learned and extend it in the last X minutes of this workshop. And you guys can do some cool things with the Twitter bot. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. I think I already made an app a while ago. I've got a whole bunch of them. Project Sadness, yeah. That was a good one. It does things. All of them seem to do things. So that's good. Well, I'll make another one.
Is this also gonna do things?
It's also going to do things, yes. So let's go ahead and fill this out. Polybot.
That was Polybot. Remember that original idea for
That was my idea.
last vote?
Yeah, it does things. Obviously, we are Google, naturally. You can change that later. It doesn't really matter, honestly. And we can leave that callback URL blank because we don't really need that. Let's hit yes, I agree, and create it. Eric,
What?
somebody's already taken it. All right, Polybot.
I thought it was called.
Alright, let's do that. I swear. Who took that one? Anyone? It's probably a very common name. Yes, there you go. Cool, I got that one. So, alright, let's go ahead and grab we need to do this, we need to change the permissions, which is in the permissions tab over here. I feel like this monitor is just like in the way.
What was our callback URL again?
Blank.
Blank. Okay.
Leave it blank.
We push it either way.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's not a nice swivel. Yep. Ooh.
Leave it over there. That's good. Yeah, so make sure that's on read and write. And that's good. And basically, when we get done with all this setting up nonsense, we can go over to keys and access token, and we see customer key, consumer secret, and then if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see access token. You can hit that create my access token button, and it'll give you the access token and the access token secret. We will need those later, so just keep that tab open.
Where was this?
Sorry?
Where was this? Hold on. What was it called? Oh,
This is in.
it's in keys and access tokens, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So, does everybody have that? Does anybody need some help? You good? Cool. So, now that we have that, just kind of leave that alone for a second. And I believe we can go ahead and get started. Cool. So, who here has any familiarity with JavaScript?
Absolutely.
All right, a little bit, cool. So this was geared towards people who didn't really know anything about JavaScript. So, you know, just gonna go through a hello world example. So let's first make a folder where we'll put our Twitter bot in. So let's see. I'm gonna have to. Can you guys see that? How about now? Does that help at all? Is that, should I switch to like a white feed? Maybe. Let's try this. So, I typically do a lot of the work in a terminal. Yeah, that's Doge. Type Doge and it prints out Doge. Priorities, right? Alright, so can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Alright. So, gosh. Alright, so let's go ahead and make our Twitter bot folder first, and I'm going to put mine on the desktop. So, obviously for Windows users, oh, well, actually, if you have the latest version of Windows 10, you can follow along with me with all my bash commands. It's pretty awesome.
I did not get the time.
What's that?
I said I did not get the
Yeah,
time.
that-
I was told about it today, but I did
It's
not.
great.
Sorry, I use Commander with
Yeah, I like Commander a lot too. So just go ahead and like make that directory. I'll call it Twitter bot. And let's go ahead and go into that directory. Cool. So we'll need this later, but let's first go ahead and make our JavaScript file. And so I just called it app.js. You can really call it whatever you like, but that's what I'll do. I'm going to just make that here, and I will call it app.js. That'll be fine. What kind of text editors do you guys use?
I didn't know we'd need one, so I have Notepad right now.
Notepad, okay.
Use VS Code.
Oh,
like
I
that.
have VS Code. Hold on, I can use that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing.
I really like that. This is Adam with material design. It's pretty nice. Text editors are just so important. If you don't have one, get one. There's a whole bunch of really good ones like Adam. I was a big fan of Sublime for a while, Sublime Text. What's really awesome is that they're very lightweight and they just give you the ability to write code in any language, even notes if you want. And so my typical setup is I'll just have a text editor and a terminal, and that's basically what I'll use forever. So, hello world for Node is really simple because what Node is it's really just a runtime environment for JavaScript. So you write all the code in JavaScript, and then Node just allows you to run that in a different environment from just like in your browser. So what's really nice about Node is that Node is, you can have Node on every single platform. And so some of the awesome things people have done, it gives us the ability to write like cross-platform tools and apps and stuff like that. A great example of that is Atom and Visual Studio Code. This app is written in Node, which is crazy, and everyone here could download it if they wanted to. So that's just a fun thing about Node. They've also made.
So does that mean you can compile with Node?
Define compiling.
Because are you running Atom through Node.js's interpreter, or are you running it standalone?
Well, the way Atom works is kind of strange. It's pretty standalone. You don't need Node on your system, but basically what Atom is built in, called Electron, it has its own. It's basically just like packaged everything about Node into an app. And so with this, they can use that on every system, Windows, Mac, and whatever. So the same code can run. So anyway, back on track. Let's go ahead and write the hello world for Node and for JavaScript, which is simply just console.log hello world. Console log is just like the system.out.println in Java, or the printf in C, or print in Python. What languages do you guys mostly use here? What do they
Python.
teach? Python?
Python,
C++.
Python and C++. That's
And
really
sometimes Java if you get up to the second.
She, prods and pros.
interesting.
Yeah.
At UCF, their first language they'll teach is usually C. Possibly, they might throw Python into the Intro to C class. I don't know why they do that. And then from there, it's just all Java. Pretty interesting. So this is the hello world for Node. And in order to run that, let's just go back to our terminal. And if we have Node installed properly, and you can check by doing node-v. I've got version 5.8. I think that's also how you do it on Windows.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
And in order to run that file, we can just do node app.js, and it prints hello world. So really simple. So now let's make things a little bit more complex. Now, is everyone good up at this point? Is anybody having any issues? It's okay.
I think I'm here. Let me
Here
just
to
do
help.
this console log.
So
If you didn't save your text editor, it probably won't show up.
yeah, be sure to save your file. That's important. And you can see my directory up here. It's just the TwitterBot folder, and then inside of that is just app.js. That's it.
And then, so we go into the folder and open like a command prompt there, equivalently, okay.
Yep. And as long as you have Node installed, you can just type node app.js, and it will just run it.
Alright.
Alright. So let me know. Did everybody get that? Cool. Is there anyone like behind several
I got it.
steps?
I got
Got
it,
it.
we're good now.
Alright.
At least I'm
Cool. Alright. So, awesome. Hello world. Wasn't that exciting? Alright, so I'm not going to go into JavaScript syntax too much, because it does do a lot of crazy things, but it does kind of resemble C in a way. Not so much Python, but
Bless you.
it's very similar. So the next step we're going to get into is the Node Package Manager, or NPM. You can actually go to their site, npmjs.com, and it's got this adorable badger, I think, or something. And you can just like look for a whole bunch of packages. So for this one, we're going to use the Twitter package. And so we can just go here, search for Twitter, and the first one looks good. And this is the Twitter package. And so very similar to how in C you can like import, what is it, math.h or whatever, import like standardlib dot whatever, or in C++ how you import things. Basically in every programming language, how you import modules into your project. This is basically what happens in Node as well. The import is called require instead. So NPM is super important, and this page is really important because it tells you everything about that particular package. So all the information you would need to understand how this package works is right here. So this is like a ridiculously important tool for using someone else's code, because that way you don't make any assumptions. So it's really good. You can also check the GitHub page for that as well, which typically has the same README, but yeah. So let's go ahead and go back to the workshop here. Now, in order to install this module, because it's on the web, npm comes with Node by default. And so to install it, we can just say right here, npm install Twitter. And that's in the same directory as the app.js file. So we can see here that I'm in the TwitterBot folder. And so what I'll do is I'll just type npm install Twitter. And then we get this adorable little progress bar. And a whole bunch of warnings, but we can just kindly ignore those. And you might have a Node modules folder inside of that directory. For whatever reason, mine doesn't show up, but do you guys have that folder in your directory? You see like Node modules?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, and then inside of it, it shows like, it says Twitter somewhere in there.
Oh shoot, hold on, let me see if I can confirm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah,
Boom.
so that means that the Twitter module is installed in this directory. So now the next step is to actually import it into our application. So let's go ahead and reopen up let's go back to our app.js folder, and we can go ahead and comment out the console log or delete it or whatever. Commenting in JavaScript is just 2 slashes. It also does these as well for like block commenting.
Just like Java.
What's that?
Just like Java.
Just like Java, exactly. And C. So this next stuff is honestly pulled right from the npm page. So the first thing we need to do, I mentioned earlier this require statement. We need to just require this Twitter package. And what that's going to do is that's going to go into that folder, that Twitter folder, and it's going to pull out all the good stuff about the Twitter package, and it's going to store it in this variable Twitter package. And so what that will allow us to do is to use that package in our code, which is exactly what we want. So now the next step we need to do is set up the Twitter package, and we need to go back and get our secret keys that we had previously. And what this is doing is this is registering our app with Twitter. And so Twitter knows to like send us information, or that it's going to receive information from us if we were tweeting something, for example. That's just going to make sure that it knows, it's aware of our app. And without this step, Twitter will yell at you and say like access denied or something like that. So it's pretty self-explanatory what needs to happen next. I'll explain that next line in a second, but go ahead and put your consumer key, consumer secret, access token key, and access token secret in that secret. And this is an object, actually. This is what objects look like in JavaScript. It kind of looks like a hash map or C++, what is that, a dictionary, they're called?
Yeah.
Key value.
Yeah.
It's like a key value thing.
Mhm.
This is an object in JavaScript. It can hold a whole bunch of things. You can actually, if you wanted to, you can put a function in here if you wanted to, and call A. It's pretty cool. So go ahead and put yours in there. I'll quickly put mine.
I was about to say, I found 2 of the numbers.
There should find 3. And the other 2 you have to generate. You have to further down generate.
Okay.
Access token, because I had to do the same thing.
Yeah, so the first 2 are up here at the top under application settings, and then if you scroll down, there's your access token, and if you haven't already done so, there's like a button that says generate access tokens, probably right around here.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and hit that and do the copying and pasting. Now,
Wait, which one do I need? The one before the slash, the one after the slash, or the whole thing for access token?
what, this?
Yeah,
Oh,
the whole thing?
The
Okay.
whole thing, yeah. So, there's one quick thing I should probably mention, and that's kind of what these tokens are. These are essentially like, these are basically passwords. And you use these to identify yourself with Twitter. So if you were to hand these out to someone else, they could basically be you as far as like the Twitter API goes. So that's really, really bad. There's been tons of mistakes where people accidentally push this stuff onto GitHub, and then people are like constantly scraping GitHub for these keys, and then they'll have your keys, and then there's a whole promotion, and it's just not good. But so I won't get into it right now because it's kind of a little bit of a work. But we can take these keys and put them in another file, and then if you're used to Git at all, there's another file you can create called git ignore, and you can actually have Git ignore those files when you put your code onto GitHub. And so that's ideally what you want to do, so that these important keys don't end up on the internet somewhere. But we don't have to worry about that
Wait,
right now.
hold on.
I'll get to that last line. in a
Mine-
sec.
Oh wait, no, I accidentally copied this directly from, I didn't do it like you. Mine is var client equals new Twitter, and yours is just var secret equals dictionary. Should I have it? I guess it doesn't matter.
Oh, you copied it
I
from
copied it from
here.
your top one, yeah.
Okay.
So I just kind of did both of your lines at once, I guess.
Yeah, that works too.
Okay.
No issues there. I just kind of took that step out, or separated that, so that would be a little bit more clear.
Makes more sense, yeah.
And so what you're doing here at the very bottom, is kind of like in Java when you make a new object. You're passing in these secret keys into the Twitter package, and then what's stored in Twitter is now this Twitter object that we can like interact with. With this Twitter object, we'll be able to like send tweets, we'll be able to listen for tweets, and do a whole bunch of stuff. But without this very important step, we won't be able to do any of that. So, does everybody kind of see what's going on here? Is everybody up to date? Everybody following along? Because I can explain things, no problem. Cool, so on to the next part. So yeah, and the reason why we put this in like this nice markdown is so that if you wanted to, you can look at this later, look at it anytime. And I also wrote up a whole bunch of stuff about it, so you can read that too. Those words are probably better than me just kind of rambling too. So, what do you guys say we post a tweet? Think that'd be cool? Let's do it. All right. So Twitter has a couple of different really cool APIs. Does anybody here not know what an API is? It's okay. You don't know. Okay. So an API is kind of like, it's a way that you communicate with something. That's kind of a really simple way of putting it. And so Twitter has two different APIs. They have a REST API, which is mainly used for posting tweets or getting tweets, these kind of like one-time actions. And then they also have a streaming API, in which case you can listen for a whole stream of tweets. And so what that means is like, you can track a certain hashtag, let's say, and then you'll receive all the tweets from that specific hashtag. and they'll just like come into your app and you'll get to like do cool things with them. So one of the cool things that Isabella and I did once, this was for Halloween, we used Twitter's streaming API. We looked for the hashtag Halloween, and then we took those tweets, ran it through this other library that tells you how many syllables that tweet was in, and then we like made haikus out of all those tweets and like put them on a website. So it was kind of cool. Like take these tweets and like kind of change them around and turn them into something different. That's kind of the stuff I like to do. So let's go ahead and post a tweet, and I'll kind of go through all of this, but if you want to just copy and paste, that's cool too. You can just throw that at the bottom. So let's go ahead and break this down. Oh man. All right, can you guys all see that? Cool. So the first thing, it's like twitter.post, and it says statuses/update. And all that means is Twitter, we're going to post a tweet. The next part here is, you can see the curly braces. This is an object. You can set a whole bunch of different things in it, and you can look on Twitter's documentation for what other properties this can have. But what this does have is a status, and it says I love Technites. You can say I love Polly or something, whatever you guys say. And so that would be the status of the tweet. All right, and the next part here, this is the part that people get kind of lost in. This is a function that we're passing into another function. Now, is anybody confused by that? Because that's okay. It's a really weird thing about JavaScript. It gives you the ability to like pass in other functions. And so,
As in like the response from the function, or like the entire function?
right, so see this function here?
Yeah.
If we wanted to, we can pull that function out. Let's say we want to, let's do it like this. We can say var funct equals this function. I'll just like copy and paste it really quickly. And so now I've just taken this function and I've stored that function into a variable. Because in JavaScript, functions are really like the first class citizens of the language. You can pass them into functions, you can store functions into variables. And so what that allows me to do is, if I wanted to, I could just call the function like this and like pass in the parameters. I could call it like that. And so what I could do is I could take funct and I could put that here. And I'll tell you what Twitter is doing with that function behind the scenes. But we can pass that in. Pass that in here. Let me zoom out so you guys can see the full picture here. But yeah, I just took that function, I put it into a variable, and then I'm taking funct, that variable, and I'm passing it into this function.
Mm-hmm.
And so what Twitter's going to do, this is what's called the callback function. So what that means is, once Twitter is done posting that tweet onto Twitter, it's going to call that function. So whatever you pass in as this parameter, that's what Twitter is going to do once it's done posting that tweet. And so you can see here, there are 3 parameters here. There's error, tweet, and response. And so if for whatever reason Twitter got an error posting your tweet, that will be some sort of value. You can like print that out. That's what I did here. If there wasn't an error, then we'll have this tweet object here, and we can print that out. That's going to be what we actually just sent, which for us will be a tweet has a whole lot of information into it, and we'll see what that looks like. But one of the things inside of the tweet object will be our status. And so, sorry? No? Okay. And so the response is one other thing. It's just another object that gives you more information about what Twitter did to post that tweet. But we can just kind of ignore that for now. So does that answer your question? Does that make a little bit more sense?
Yeah, I'm good with that. And then one more. So, why did you have to make an object out of status? Or was it something that the Twitter API just demands?
Well, the reason why I made it an object is because, and I don't know the exact other properties, but here, let's do this. Let's say that we can assign a location to our object.
Yeah.
I don't know, like location. I don't know exactly what it is, and we'll just say Orlando. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
You see where this is taking shape?
Mhm.
You can add other things into this object if you want to, but if there's not, if you don't have location in there, it will just use some default. So it probably requires a status, which would make sense. You wouldn't want to just post an empty tweet. But there are other optional things that you can add into that object to, make the tweet more of what you want it to be.
Okay.
So does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Everybody else understand that? Cool. All right, so that's the object, and we can actually pass that in here. Cool. So that's gonna post a status under your username with the status of whatever you put here. So what's the short name you guys call your? Do you just call
Polly. Yeah.
Polly?
Yeah, Polly.
Polly.
Okay, cool. So I'll say that. And so I think, let's go ahead and save that. And let's give it a try. So, I did some crazy stuff. Let me move this over here. All right, so if you go ahead and do node app.js again, you'll get this monster of an object, and that's what this is. This is, oh goodness gracious.
What?
Oh my gosh, having a rough time here. But you guys can probably all see it. Does everybody see that on your guys' screen?
Okay, so this is obviously a user error, but
That's not an error.
it's right. No, mine is.
Oh.
Yeah, right after, it has a caret right after, like under the P on twitter.post, and then it says type error twitter.post is not a function.
Ah. Strange, okay. Did you make sure your variables are named correctly. This Twitter here needs to be the same Twitter as here. Does that make, you see that?
So,
These two variables need to be the same, which is possibly the issue that you're having.
yeah, I think part of it is that, okay, I think I know what it is. It might be client. Because I use theirs.
Right, you use theirs, right?
Yeah.
So client is Twitter. Yeah.
Alright, I
Okay.
got you.
Cool. So, I think this worked. You can see this just disgusting looking object. Honestly, it's disgusting. And eventually, if we get up to Doges, yeah, here we go. If we get up to here, back at the very top where we ran that application, you can see text equals I love Polly. So that says it worked. So let's go ahead and jump onto Twitter. And there you go, right there. It says I love Polly. And I promise you I didn't tweet that before. And this is all in the leadership. So that came from the app, and If you run node app.js again, it might yell at you and say you've already tweeted that within the past like minute or something. Twitter doesn't like you to post the same status over and over again.
So, interesting question. My status is in large text,
Okay.
like larger than yours. Just like it's big, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. I don't
Like-
get it.
Everything else is like size 12, but then his status like 30.
I feel like I'm just like messing up left and right here today. Either
That's
way,
interesting. But it
Yeah.
posted, right?
it posted. So yeah, it definitely posted.
Alright, so
Not that much.
did everybody post a tweet
Yes.
with Node?
In my mind.
Is everybody happy that they posted a tweet with Node?
I'm happy.
Okay.
Like I like that it's bigger anyway.
Yeah,
I feel like it will get my word across easier.
exactly. Yeah. Cool. Did anybody not post a tweet with Node and is struggling and needs help? I'm here to help. You need some help. You need some help.
I got invalid or expired token.
Okay. If you get that, go back into your app management page, this thing, and there's a way to like regenerate consumer key and secret. And if you scroll down, you can regenerate my access token and token secret. Just regenerate those and then use the new ones, because that happens. Yes. Issues? Really?
I think I got it.
You got it?
I think
Was-
so.
Was that the problem? Was that the problem?
I think so. I think it's just like a very protocol.
Yeah, I don't know why. It seems to always happen. It happened the last time I did this workshop. Someone's access tokens just expire. I guess they do that from time to time. But you can just go ahead and regenerate those, and just in case you guys are like taking pictures of my client ID and client secret, I'm gonna have to regenerate mine.
Yeah, you will.
Not again.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I'm watching you in the back. So, who here posted and it worked?
I definitely.
Yeah,
I also followed you.
so you followed me
Yeah.
too. All right, creepy. All right. Got fans. All right, fan.
Can we follow you through this?
I think so.
Can I auto follow?
Yes.
follow.
Well, that's like if you go ahead and use. I think the popular one is hashtag growth hacking.
Yeah,
When
right.
you tweet hashtag growth hacking, like a million bots will just start following you. You can do that. You can write that. It's doable.
Let's do it. I have
wouldn't
a Twitter
suggest
account that's essentially garbage. This isn't even a real Twitter account to
There
me.
you go. So you could do that if you wanted to. All right. So now that we've all tweeted something, which is awesome, let's go ahead and get into the
I'll save
next-
this for later.
Oh, it's still giving me invalid or expired token.
Really?
Yep.
You made sure to like copy and paste them. Oh,
Yeah.
it might help double check your permissions. You go into the permissions tab. Make sure it says read and write,
Yep.
and then maybe update and refresh them again. Unfortunately, like that's like a Twitter issue. I don't work there.
I feel like the last time I tried to work with Twitter, the same thing happened to me like 3 or 4 years ago, and then I just gave up. And now here I am working with Twitter again, and it just magically worked.
There you go. If you want, I can also send you mine.
Oh, good. Hashtags work.
I'm fooling with Jordan today.
Uh,
He says that he does it all the time. I'll send it down. I don't believe him. You have 0 knee control, so I don't know how you're supposed to put that on first play.
You,
But barely. Oh no, we got it. We better.
Hashtag growth hacking does not work.
I'm going to
Just wait,
actually.
it'll happen.
What happened?
I was about to say I'm growth hacking right now. I'm gonna do it through my Twitter bot actually.
There you go.
But it's totally gonna grow.
A bot wrote this bot.
I will.
Hashtag growth hacking.
You know what's funny is the amount of bots that follow my Tumblr bot. It's like they just cluster together.
Yeah, sounds believable. I can imagine. It's have you ever heard of that XCKD post where I probably said it wrong, XKCD, one of the four. You just pick an arrangement. I'll probably say it wrong every time. But they made a post about how like a scenario where you could upload any virus you wanted to this cluster of computers networked together, and then you have everyone do that, and then you see which virus is survival of the fittest for computer resources, and which one like finally wins over all the other ones eventually, because viruses are like trying to close processes, and if you're a virus, if you're a virus competing against other viruses, you might as well try to close other virus processes. So who does the best? And so people will like upload their bots and then just do like OTA.
Go here and copy that. If you're having issues with this access token thing, this is just like a link to
like a
my stuff that you can just copy.
You just stole off.
How did you like?
Get for everybody?
How did you?
Just want to get for everybody?
Yeah, it was on the GitHub gists.
What a trusting man.
Was it?
The word trusting man.
It's alright. You can just reset them.
It's for his fans.
But
How did you make it so big? How did you do this? Is this a Node.js app?
no, this is Alfred. It looks a lot like Spotlight, but this is the OG Spotlight.
There you go.
Ah, okay.
And then
Alright.
you can hit Command L and it makes it big.
Well,
Like,
thanks,
Thanks,
Twitter.
Tyler.
what's that?
Thanks, Twitter.
Thanks, Tyler.
It didn't give me an error this time.
Thanks, Tyler. I appreciate it.
Just post something.
He did put something. I saw it.
Ah, it works.
Got him. There you go.
I saw it too because I followed him.
I'm watching you,
Hashtag.
okay? Don't do anything funny. Otherwise, I'll kick you out. Do I have that power? I have that power.
Who kicked me out?
Yeah, technically speaking, he's the president of the club.
Yeah, you're
but-
kicking out the president of the club. Man, I feel overpowered.
Alright, so
That's how you should feel.
now that that's all done, let's go on to the streaming API. So, like I mentioned previously, what this is going to let us do is we're going to track a certain hashtag. So, you can see here, twitter.stream means we're going to open up a new stream. Statuses/filter, that means we're going to look at statuses and we're going to filter those statuses. And we're going to track, you guys can track whatever you want. I'll track this, I guess, or I'll track something else later. And so, the same thing applies. This isn't the only property that this object can have. There are so many other things you can filter based off of. I know location is one of them. So if you wanted to just get the tweets in like this general location, that's something that you would do in this object right here. And so then this function, it's got a stream. And what we do with that stream is we set these, these are called listeners, stream.on. What that means is basically we're saying stream.on data. In other words, when we receive tweets that meet our criteria that we specify here. So when we get data that has the hashtag whatever, then we're just going to print out the text of that tweet. And then if that stream gets an error, it'll print out the error. Does everybody understand that? So that's that function again. That's that like callback when Twitter is done setting up your stream. And so then what we do here is we set these listeners and we pass them a function that runs every time we get whatever this is. Every time we get data, this function will run. Every time we get an error, this function will run. So you can change that to do whatever you like. But for this, we're going to just print out the data that comes in. So let's go ahead and try that. And so I broke apart the post one, but you can see you don't have to like break everything apart. Would it help if I broke it apart, or do you guys get it from the last example?
I was about to say, I'm feeling like there's some stuff that's just standard, and then there's like a few things that you're just changing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you just like kind of reuse code all the time.
Yeah.
It seems like one of the easier coding
Yeah, I was able
languages to
to
use.
re-enter, generate keys like at the same time. It
Awesome.
worked.
Yeah,
I don't
it's,
have to tweet to you anymore.
it's really simple. And like, some people do hate on Node for the simple reason that you don't have to program a lot of the time. There's typically a module that does, a Node module that just does everything you want it to do.
That's the best.
The famous example, which maybe you've heard in like the news recently, is the left pad issue that's been arising. So basically, this guy wrote this he wrote this Node module, and it was like 10 lines of code. But all it did was it would pad some string, so you could have like, is there like a, I'll type it.
So did you do a marker?
Yeah,
It's right there.
perfect, got it.
The winner.
So it's like,
SoundCloud.
so it's like, this is good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like, this is my string. With left pad, you could like say, all right, I want to pad this string with a bunch of zeros, with 5 zeros, and then it would do this. That's what it would do. It was like 10 lines of code, but so many other people's projects used this line of code, and so there was this huge so they used like 1 line to do 10 lines worth of work. But then there's this really bad problem that happened. The guy who wrote this got into a big argument with some company that he wrote this other Node module that was the same name as the company. And so the company's like, no, can we please have that name? But you kind of took it from us already. And so they got into a big argument. NPM said, all right, you can, said, okay company, here, you can have the rights to that name. And so then the guy freaked out, he got really upset. And so he took all of his Node modules that he's ever written, and he took them down from NPM. One of which including left pad. And so when he took down left pad, and everybody used their projects, everything broke because because that Node module was no longer on the NPM website. And so everyone's project broke because this tiny 10 lines of code was no longer in their Node, no longer in the NPM directory. And it was this big deal, and everybody was freaking out about it. And then 5 minutes later, someone just made another left pad, and then the world continued.
Yeah, just do you
I was about to say, don't you download everything from NPM anyway? So you had his code, cloned on your computer, hopefully.
Right, but the problem is when you want to go do it on another computer,
Oh, okay.
and you want to install the dependencies for that project, it's like left pad doesn't exist anymore. Sorry, I don't know what to do, and then it just breaks everything. Bad things happen. So that was a pretty silly thing that happened.
You're better off leaving it. Same doing.
No, yeah.
Who's that spot?
Just if you're ever in charge in the future of what type of whiteboard you're supposed to put
Don't
up in
buy
a
wall
or in a classroom, do not buy wall talkers.
Don't buy wall talkers.
I see that.
Do not. Don't do it.
Do not. So, yeah, this is pretty much the gist of how a Node project works. Is you just import the modules that you want, and then just do whatever you want to do with them. So, back to the stream thing. I'm gonna track hashtag poly rocks. Do that. And so I'll save that, and then let's go ahead and just call node app.js. And if you notice, actually, just really quickly, I'm gonna comment out this post thing so it doesn't like tweet it every time I run it. So if you notice, I ran app.js and it doesn't give me the prompt again. Like I can't like type in another command. Let me like zoom in. That's because it's listening. It's listening for tweets to come in. And it's not gonna stop listening until I kill the app.
So is it, you said
So is this active listening, or is it gonna scrape archive tweets?
Active listening.
Okay, so,
What was your question?
it was hashtag polyrocks?
Yeah, hashtag polyrocks.
Like,
Did you just do hashtag polyrocks?
Yeah.
So
come on guys, where's the school pride?
It's, you know, all this stuff is coming in real time, which is really cool because then you can like do something cool with this information.
Look at this Twitter boards.
I'm legally,
Right. Interesting. And so one of the things that you can do is when a tweet like this comes in, then you can post a tweet back. You can man, Jesse, no one likes you.
I'm a good point of,
Yeah, so you can like post a tweet in response to, you know, one of these comes in. All right.
could I, okay, so, hold on. Realistically, could I put a command for my terminal to read in Twitter and then have my program input it?
What?
Yeah, why not? Well, that's what I'm saying, it's like, so if I could scope by hashtags, I could pick like a super, impossible to guess hashtag, just unique, completely unique, and then run commands on a computer off of Twitter, technically, if I coded it
Sounds
right.
like a bad
Yeah,
plan.
No,
If you want to.
That's right. And so, yeah, you want to like trigger something that happened on your computer,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Shut it down.
In fact, a while ago,
Hashtag shut it down.
a while ago.
I left my soup on.
No, but guys, this is
the IoT, guys,
this
that's what I'm trying to
is
say.
the future.
That's what I'm saying, you guys don't see it.
A while ago.
Oh my god, no, we see it, but some of us are aware of cybersecurity risks.
That's what I'm saying.
These guys use the Twitter API to control a drone, which was pretty cool. They would like tweet, I don't know. I think it's
Left.
like left. Yeah, and then the drone would then fly left or do whatever it wanted to do. So that was really cool, and you know, this kind of stuff is possible, which I think is pretty cool.
Node.js
That's
work on
it.
Windows IoT.
What's that?
Does Node.js work on Windows IoT?
Probably.
Yeah, I would
Isn't it just Windows, right?
Yeah.
It's just like Windows 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Just like it.
probably is.
Well,
my
slightly
answer.
broken Windows 10, but it should work just
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should
Yeah.
work.
I
I'm
caught
just
up
not
to
100% sure. I've reduced it.
Because everybody does it on Linux.
Yeah. Well, what's great about Node is that it runs on every platform. So
Yeah, it does. For future reference, it does.
for future reference, it does. All right. You heard it here last.
Exactly. Doing what it doesn't move that hashtag
So-
polyrocks.
Let's go ahead and on. So does everybody understand what we've done so far? Like, it's really easy just to copy and paste and then say, look what I did, but then have no idea what you just did. So does everybody kind of understand what you just did? And then like, obviously you don't need to know how Twitter does its like streaming. That's like, I think it's proprietary. I don't think they like talk about it, but like the code makes sense. If that makes sense to you. So on to the next thing. So we noticed this stuff is the text of the tweet of whatever you guys tweeted out. And that's because right here I said tweet.text. Now if I wanted to just say tweet, and this is going to be another one of those really ugly objects again. But if I do that, go ahead,
Bash Jesse.
you guys.
There was, we'll tell you after we're on the camera about the Hydra and the Technocats story.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Cool. So you guys did that. So, man, terminal sucks. All right. So let's go ahead and go up here. Now this is a, if you look at this is a giant object, and what that is, that's actually a tweet object, and you can like use that for different things. So here's tweet.text that we used in the previous example that says hashtag polyrocks. Jesse has weird hands. I don't know.
I'm sure you know.
If any of you guys, you probably haven't yet, but if you've attached a picture to your tweet and you use hashtag polyrocks, you would get the link to that picture as well. So that's like another thing that you could potentially use. And so you can look here. Let's see, who is the user? The name was polyhack. So who is that?
Frank.
So that's you, and then this is the screen name. This is an important one right here. This is the screen name. So one of the extensions for this project that I'll have you guys do in a while is the ability to kind of have a really bad conversation with a Twitter bot, where you can tweet at a certain hashtag, and then that bot will actually respond to you. And so using this screen name, you can then say, all right, a tweet comes in, and then you post a tweet saying at screen name, and then say something like
No.
whatever
I don't
you
know,
can
but
say
I
these
don't.
days. And you can see there's like a location and all this other stuff. There's a whole bunch of junk in that tweet object, but a lot of really useful things. So let's stop that.
How do you parse this tweet object if you want to get things out of it?
Yeah, so if you look at what we did previously, I did tweet.text. So that would get the text. And if you look at the tweet object, you see that if we did tweet.text, there's that. So let's say we wanted to get the screen name, we would do tweet.user.screenname. And that would give us FL polyhack.
Is this
So-
going to give you all of this every time you run the Twitter?
For every tweet that comes in, you're going to get an object that looks like this.
Okay, can you like filter it eventually? Or do you have to get this in your face every time?
You filter, that's the dot text,
Okay.
dot user dot.
Well, yeah, but like, you still get, are we in like verbose mode, or are we always gonna get like that big line of text that we keep getting?
Well, when the tweet comes in from Twitter, it's always going to be this.
Okay.
And then it's up to you to kind of use whatever you want from inside there. But what's nice is that it's always going to look like this.
Okay.
So you know that every single time, if you do tweet.text, you will get the text of that tweet.
Okay.
Every single time you do tweet.user.screenname, you'll get that person's screen name.
Okay.
So, yeah, from there, you can make that assumption that that will always be in that tweet.
Okay.
Now, of course, that's not always the case, like pictures. Like, they might not have a picture in their tweet, in which case you have to like handle that if you were doing something like that. But this stuff is stuff that will always show up. So, what's next? Does everyone understand what's happening? Yeah? Getting it? Cool. All right, so now let's go ahead and recap what we've done so far. The first thing we did was we wrote some code that actually tweets something. And you saw that up here when we did twitter.post. We posted a tweet, and that was really cool. And then the other thing we did is that we wrote some code that also listens for tweets that come in, and that was with the twitter.stream function. That's kind of a really rough introduction. And so what I'd like for you guys to do now, and I can kind of walk around in case you guys need some help, is I'd like you guys to kind of take what you learned right now and just quickly apply it to, take it a step further and make something with it. There's a couple of suggestions here. There's a tip calculator bot, a random number generator bot, a magic 8-ball bot. And at the very end of this, at the end of this workshop, I've already posted solutions for these 3 things. But now, go ahead and use this somehow. Make something with it. Because I think that you just followed along with what I was saying. But going from here to the next step of actually using it, I think is really important. So you guys can go ahead and start that. And I'll just be here. If you have a question, just let me know. Yeah, what's up?
Show you what I already made.
Just
I kind of got ahead of myself, so I have a Clinton generator API thing. So it takes posts from our unpopular opinion and then attributes them to Hillary Clinton. So
Perfect.
So this is the one I did before. Clinton, I hate game streamers. Hillary Clinton, Quebec needs to make English their official language.
See, that's cool now, but Hillary isn't actually tagged in those tweets.
True.
So how would you do that?
At Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, you need to add that @ sign somehow. That's the next step to actually tag her in it. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta keep just a Hillary spam bot,
That's
Hillary
a
hate
bit
bot.
on there.
You'll be censored, just like the Witch Hillary hashtag.
Where's Hillary?
I was on this
Completely
website.
taken
I was
off.
looking kind of weird.
So-
Everyone forgets, don't forget.
Donald Trump. America is like
Censorship is real in the
It was
US.
like vote Hillary.
Math.random is a thing. Do you guys import anything or is it already?
It's already a thing,
Okay.
yeah. So here's some hints. Math.random is a function that's already built into JavaScript, and it returns a random double between 0 and 1. A string array looks like this. This is an array of strings. Let's see. This will return an array of strings that were separated by spaces. So, yeah, this is a string. If you do myString.split with a space in there, it's kind of hard to see, you'll end up getting this is a string. And so I mentioned here one of the things you might want to do is reply to a person. You need to mention them by using that @ sign. And I say that in that tweet object, you can do tweet.user.streaming to get it. And so this answers your question right here. Just to have me sign. Just like this. And then that would mention. And those are some hints. I hope you guys will hang around and actually take this a step further, but if you have to leave, it's fine, it's cool.
I'll just try a little bit.
Cry later, but that's okay.
Bye Mark, bye Carl. Sorry, bye Mark, bye Mark.
Bye, Mark.
I'm telling you, they just figured out how to just rip the temporal, the fabric of time, and then just walk wherever they want in it.
It's amazing.
See, if I had a program to do my circuits homework, That'd be great.
Yeah. You just bring yourself to the time where you needed to do your circuits homework, and you just high five yourself and die
Oh,
because
man,
you can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, great.
So
Jesus.
if you really want to extend this,
Did anyone just leave?
what?
I've done.
They left. That's about it.
Making it.
If you want to take this another step further, you can like look on NPM for a cool other module you want to use, like the Reddit module, or there's a module that lets you text things. So you could like send out a tweet that will like text some random number. I don't know. That's a thing that you could do.
How do we make tag?
What's that?
How do we make tag?
Tag.
There was an AI
They work
class
from Microsoft.
like 2 weeks ago.
Is there like a dot neo-Nazi?
Like,
Wait, what's tag?
Tag.
Oh, tag.
You could probably
Oh, cool.
They,
I don't know.
They ruined her. They sold her.
look at I don't know. Look at some like machine learning.
There's Microsoft's bot API.
That has no machine learning built in it, that's nonsense.
So
Maybe something.
Just use code.
yeah, that's it. So that's all I got. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm here.
So, is the thing done now?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
The camera off now.
Yeah.
That way it makes say really mean things about the school. The camera off now makes say really mean things about the school. Cool, thank you.
Was the camera off?
She made a reply button.
That's just
Wait, is the
only
camera
wrong, but in like several different ways.